Welcome to another deep dive. Have you ever found yourself, right in the middle of a thought, all set to speak English, but then your brain just kind of
Oh,
freezes?
absolutely, that
Yeah,
moment.
that moment where you're translating in your head, scrambling for the right words, and the whole flow just disappears. Well, you are definitely not alone.
Hmm.
Today, we're really diving into some fantastic material, step-by-step English fluency, practical tips and strategies. Honestly, it's a real goldmine for anyone looking to get past just basic English and, truly think and speak with natural confidence.
It really is. And what's so interesting, I think, about these sources is they show fluency isn't some secret code. It's more about a deliberate shift, really, in how you engage with English.
Right.
So our mission today is to kind of cut through the noise, boil these practical tips down into steps you can actually take, and give you a clear roadmap. We're going to unpack strategies designed to boost your confidence, build your vocabulary, and sharpen your pronunciation. Like no matter where you are on your journey right now. It's less about rules, more about habits for, well, organic communication.
Okay, so if you're ready to ditch that internal translator and actually step into speaking English more fluidly, get ready. We're about to make some real progress, breaking down these powerful strategies step by step. Let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
So, our journey kicks off with something I think many of us feel is the biggest hurdle, that mental workout we do when trying to speak English.
hmm
Forming the thought in our native language first, then trying to swap it into English word for word. It's just exhausting, isn't it? And it slows everything down.
Completely. The sources call it the translation trap.
Hmm.
And it's worth asking, beyond just being slow, how does that habit actually stop us from becoming truly fluent?
Yeah.
Well, the core idea is it prevents your brain from making those direct connections, those pathways between an idea
hmm
and the English words for it.
Mhm.
You're adding this whole extra unnecessary step.
Oh, okay.
So the real breakthrough, the very first step the material really pushes, is bypassing your native language altogether.
Right. So tip one, basically, think in English, not your native language. And that's not just a nice idea, it's a real mental shift, isn't it?
It really is.
It means actively, like describing your world in English, even just in your head. You see a cat outside, you think the cat is stretching, or, while making dinner, narrate it, I am chopping the onions. Now I'm adding them to the pan.
Exactly. And here's where people often get stuck. They worry about perfection. Is my internal sentence grammatically perfect?
Yeah, that's me.
Right. But the source offers this really freeing insight.
Mm-hmm.
The pro tip is actually to embrace the mistakes at first.
Yeah.
Don't sweat the small stuff. The goal is just thinking in English, building that direct link. Fluency, interestingly, often comes before perfect accuracy in this phase. It's about the habit, the mental muscle, not a perfect script. Start simple, messy even. Just start.
That's actually really encouraging. Focus on the habit, not perfection. Okay, so once you're building that internal English voice, how do we make sure that translates into quick, confident speaking and, real conversations? Because
Real.
life doesn't pause for us, does it?
No, it definitely doesn't. And that takes us straight to the next key strategy, which the sources call practice thinking on your feet.
Okay.
If you think about the bigger picture, this is all about prepping for those real-time chats where you just don't have time to plan everything out. It's about developing that quick response reflex, making your English feel spontaneous, not rehearsed.
So what does thinking on your feet actually look like? How do you practice that?
Well, the material suggests something pretty simple but effective.
Mm.
Ask yourself questions and answer immediately, like zero hesitation.
Oh, okay. Like what
Okay.
wish?
For instance, what did I do last weekend? And boom, answer right away, even if it's just visited family. Or what's one thing I'm looking forward to today? Having coffee.
Yeah.
The speed is actually more important than how complex your answer is, at least initially.
Gotcha. Quick, simple answers.
Exactly. And the courses also suggest, using digital tools for this. Platforms like Tandem or HelloTalk or even Discord channels often have daily prompts or speaking challenges.
Ah, it's interesting.
Yeah, they kind of force you into that immediate response mode.
Yeah.
You can also just simulate scenarios yourself. Imagine ordering food, asking for directions, explaining your job. Practice those little dialogues out loud. The pro tip here is crucial. Don't pause too long thinking. Use simpler words if you need to. Just keep it flowing. Build that reflex.
Okay, makes sense. So we're rewiring the brain, practicing quick responses, but how do we make sure we're feeding our minds the right kind of English input, absorbing those natural rhythms and patterns so our own speech sounds, well, natural?
That's a great point. Active listening is key here.
Active listening.
Yeah. And what's really fascinating is how it goes beyond just understanding words. It's about internalizing sentence structures, common phrases, even the subtle stress and intonation, the music of English, you could say.
The music, I like that.
It's hearing how the language feels when spoken naturally. So this brings us to listen actively to native speakers.
So it's not just having English on in the background.
Definitely not.
It means really tuning in when you watch shows, listen to podcasts, or watch videos, choosing stuff you actually like, maybe slightly challenging but really engaging with it.
Precisely. And the sources really stress focusing not just on the words, but on that rhythm, the intonation, how speech rises and falls. There's a technique mentioned called shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah. You listen to a sentence, pause, and then
Yeah.
repeat it out loud, trying to copy the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, everything exactly. It's brilliant for building that muscle memory in your mouth.
Okay, I can see how that would work.
And the pro tip reminds us, listen for the meaning, the tone, the emotion, not just single words. It helps you grasp the context, the nuances, which makes your own English sound much more authentic.
Okay, so we're absorbing natural English, hearing the music. Now, the flip side, actually making the music ourselves, right? Because, like the sources say, you can study forever, but if you don't speak, fluency just won't happen.
That's the core of it, active production. So many learners get stuck in passive mode waiting until they feel ready.
Guilty.
We all are sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but the sources are clear. Fluency is built by using your speaking muscles regularly. It's putting everything you're learning and hearing into practice. That's why speak as much as possible is so vital.
It sounds simple, but maybe the most intimidating piece of advice. Finding a speaking partner is great, obviously, through groups or online. But what if that's tricky?
Well, the sources offer a really liberating alternative. Talk to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Describe your day out loud. Explain how to make your breakfast. Summarize a news article all in English. It might feel a bit weird at first, sure, but it's super effective. Low pressure, builds confidence.
I can see that. No judgment.
Exactly. And another powerful tool they mention is recording yourself.
Oh, the cringe factor.
Haha, yeah. Push past the cringe. Listen back to your pronunciation, your intonation. Notice where you can improve. Track your progress over time. It gives you that objective feedback. And the pro tip here is so important. Don't wait for perfection. Fluency comes from practice, not waiting. Every word you speak is progress, mistakes and all.
Okay, speaking of mistakes, especially pronunciation ones, the sources have some really freeing advice here, acknowledging that sounding exactly like a native speaker isn't necessarily the goal, right?
Precisely. That can be such an unrealistic pressure. The goal, as the sources frame it for improved pronunciation and accent, is clear, understandable communication. That shift in focus is huge. It takes the pressure off.
So how do we get clear and understandable? What's the practical advice?
Well, learning some basic phonetics helps, especially focusing on sounds that don't exist in your native language. You know, the sound or maybe vowel differences like ship and sheep. Understanding how those sounds are made physically can really help.
Right, the mechanics of it.
Yeah. And it also highlights practicing linking words. This is huge for sounding natural and being understood easily.
Linking words like,
How I am going to school often sounds more like I'm go to school, or cup of tea becomes cup of tea. It's how native speakers naturally connect words. Learning this helps others understand you better because it matches their expectations.
okay, so it's about flow and rhythm too.
Exactly. Recording yourself and comparing it to native speakers helps you adjust your rhythm, stress, intonation. But the pro tip brings comfort. Perfect pronunciation isn't the key. Clear, understandable speech, where people get your meaning without struggling, that's fluency. Focus on clarity.
Okay, great. So we've got the inner game, the listening, the speaking. Now, what about strategically growing our vocabulary and using all the resources out there? Because it's not just about knowing loads of words, but the right ones, yeah.
Absolutely. That's practical fluency in action. It's about building a vocabulary you can actually use, not just recognize. That's where expand your vocabulary naturally comes in.
And the natural way is?
Moving beyond just memorizing lists of single words. So instead of just learning happy, learn phrases like, I feel happy today, or I'm in a good mood. They're more useful right away. They give context. And crucially, use new words immediately.
Use them or lose them, basically.
Pretty much. Try using them in your speech, your internal monologue, maybe even quick writing practice. That active use makes them stick way better than just drilling flashcards.
Makes sense.
Another great strategy is the vocabulary notebook. Don't just write the word, add the meaning, maybe an example sentence or two, even synonyms, and then look back over it regularly. The pro tip here is super practical. Focus on high-frequency words first.
Common ones.
Yeah, the everyday stuff, the source actually says mastering just 500 to 1,000 common words can cover like 80% of typical conversations. That
Oh,
makes it feel much more achievable, doesn't it?
definitely less overwhelming. Okay, and to connect vocabulary with understanding structure, the sources talk about reading, which sometimes feels, I don't know, a bit passive.
It can seem that way, but approached right, it's incredibly active.
Mm.
What's fascinating is how reading exposes you to sentence patterns, idioms, complex vocabulary you might not hear every day. And when you combine it with speaking, like the sources suggest,
Mhm.
it's a real powerhouse.
Combining reading and speaking. How?
That brings us to read and summarize.
Okay.
So, the advice is simple. Read something, daily articles, stories, whatever interests you. Graded readers are great too. Then, the key step. Summarize what you just read out loud in English.
Ah, out loud.
Yes. After a paragraph or a page, just pause and explain the main points in your own words.
So you're processing and producing.
Exactly. Focus on understanding first, then on articulating it. Don't worry about perfect grammar initially. The pro tip nails it. Summarizing aloud is like this fantastic multi-skill exercise. It's reading, thinking, and speaking all rolled into one. Super efficient.
I like that. Okay, finally, we live in the digital age. We have all these tools. How do we use them smartly?
That's a critical question. How do we use tech as a boost, not a crutch? The sources give some good pointers under use technology to your advantage.
Like what kind of tech?
Well, speech recognition apps or mention things like Google Translate's voice input, Elsa Speak, Duolingo's pronunciation practice. They give you instant feedback, which is amazing, like a mini pronunciation coach.
Okay, useful for sounds. What else?
For actual conversation practice, language exchange platforms,
Yeah.
Tandem, HelloTalk, Discord communities are invaluable for connecting with native speakers.
Right, the interaction piece.
Definitely. And of course, YouTube, podcasts, endless channels explaining vocabulary, phrases, pronunciation. But the pro tip adds a note of caution. Don't only rely on apps. They're supplements. They enhance, they don't replace actual speaking practice and real human interaction. Use them strategically.
Got it. Wow, okay, that's a lot of ground covered. Thinking in English, listening, speaking, vocab, tech. But how do we make it all stick? Because great strategies are useless without the right mindset.
Exactly. That leads us to the principle that really underpins everything. Fluency isn't a destination you suddenly arrive at. It's a journey. It's about the long haul. And that brings us to our final, maybe most crucial tip. Be consistent and patient.
Consistency and patience. Easier said than done sometimes.
True, but the sources are clear. Regular short bursts of practice, maybe just 20, 30 minutes a day, beat infrequent marathon sessions every time.
Hello and Olsen.
Little and often. Build it into your routine, like exercise or, brushing your teeth. Make it a non-negotiable habit.
Okay. And how do we stay motivated on this long journey?
Set small, achievable goals. Things you can actually do each day. Learn 5 new phrases, speak for 10 minutes even to the cat. Watch one short video and summarize it. Track your progress somehow.
Like recording yourself again?
Yeah, maybe weekly recordings or just a simple journal. Seeing improvement, even small improvements, is massively motivating. Celebrate those little wins. Every new word, every conversation you navigated, it counts. And the pro tip here is fundamental. Mistakes are not failures.
Say that again?
Mistakes are signs of learning. Embrace them. Figure out what went wrong. Learn from it. They show you're pushing yourself, which is exactly what you need to do.
That's such a powerful reframe. Okay, what a fantastic deep dive. We've really unpacked a full toolkit here, shifting the mindset, practical listening and speaking techniques, smart ways to learn vocabulary, using tech wisely, and wrapping it all in consistency and patience.
Indeed. I think this deep dive really highlights that fluency comes from that active, deliberate practice, patience, and just sticking with it. It's about building habits, compounding those small daily efforts, and honestly, embracing the whole process, mistakes included as learning opportunities. It's active engagement.
So if you're ready to stop holding back and start really connecting in English, remember these ideas. Start today, speak up without fearing mistakes, and use these exercises consistently. Your confidence, your communication, your fluency will absolutely grow. English can start to feel really natural.
So as you think back on our conversation, what really resonated with you? Which of these tips feels like the right first step for your fluency journey? What small, consistent action will you commit to this week to start thinking, speaking, or understanding English just a little bit more naturally? Go out there and give it a try.